This episode is brought to you by STDHero.com. STD Hero is a trusted source for at-home STD, HPV, and herpes testing. It's simple, private, and reliable. All results are reviewed by an in-house doctor, and as a small business, customer service is priority. The best part is, you are guaranteed your results within 48 hours of the lab receiving your samples. Take control of your sexual health with STD Hero's at-home test kits. Order yours today and get the answers that you deserve. The guessing stops now at STDHero.com. Hey everyone, it's me, Mr. J.
And I'm Tricky Rick.
Welcome to the Dual Desires podcast, where we explore the ups and downs, ins and outs, and the many wild and beautiful journeys throughout the bisexual swinger lifestyle. In today's episode, we're diving into the story of the week with two incredible guests, a couple who are a little bit newer to the lifestyle, but are absolutely unapologetic and making the most of it. They're curious, they're open, and they're deeply connected. And best of all, they're grounded in honest and mutual communication and respect. Their approach and connection is all about vibing, avoiding drama, and showing up as their most authentic selves. They believe in a good conversation, meaningful connections, and letting chemistry guide the moment, where whether they're playing together or apart, their dynamic is rooted in trust, consent, and confidence, especially with Audrie leading the way. Their relationship challenges and expectations embrace individuality and remind us all that not one single right way or wrong way to explore desires. Mm-hmm. They're passionate about meeting people for who they are, not how they label themselves, and how they welcome everything from one-on-one connections to larger group experiences, all guided by intention and communication. And yes, you may hear Sean affectionately refer to Audrie as Mama, and that's because she's very much in charge. Yeah. So please welcome to the show our friends, Sean and Audrie.
Hey, thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. So today we're going to explore Sean and Audrie's journey into the lifestyle, how they found it, and what it's been like navigating swinging, friendships, power dynamics, and the lessons they've learned along the way. We're also going to talk about Sean's personal journey with bisexuality, self-acceptance, and how being part of the Dual Desires experience and support has supported his growth and confidence. So let's relax, let's have some fun, and let's our guests be their most authentic selves. But before we get started, if you believe in what we're doing and you support the bisexual community and this project, we have 3 simple favors to ask. First, if you're watching on YouTube or any other video platform, give this video a like. It really helps us share this video, and it helps reach more people. Second, hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening or watching. Every subscription helps this project grow and puts these conversations in front of others who may need to hear them. And third and finally, share this episode with at least one person today, especially a friend. Those 3 simple actions can go a long way towards growing this community and spreading positivity, and that's exactly what we're all about. Head over to dualdesires.com to sign up for a profile and get the 411 on all the latest Dual Desires news and events. So with all that being said, let's get into it.
Okay, let's do this.
All right.
I'm champagne, I'm a bottom, fuck my ass.
For us, we're probably more your typical swinger couple.
We didn't even understand what the heck we were doing.
It can be challenging because a lot of people in the bi environment, they want it to be a bi swap. But at the end of the day, I love cock.
My journey has been much different. I play with girls. It felt normal. This whole time it has been not normal.
I decided that when she left, I was going to make a life for myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try everything with everybody.
I think that's more about what this is than just having a party and throwing a swing up and letting people, have fun. It's more about actually interacting with people on more of an emotional and spiritual level.
All right, so again, thank you so much for coming out today, guys. All the way from Boise, Idaho.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know you had some drama getting here, but glad to see you.
Yeah.
We made it,
This is the first mansion party too, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah, because
cool.
we met you at Hito, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and we're excited. We're so excited to talk about that story. So
yeah.
With all that being said, though, let's get into it. I always like to lead off with this kind of question. So, Audrie, let's start with you, since Sean's story comes a little bit later, so let's start with you, Audrie. So, Where does your journey in the lifestyle begin? How did you first discover it, and what initially drew you to it?
Oh, that's funny because I don't think we set out to find the lifestyle. I set out at 50 years old to heal some childhood trauma. And one of the things I discovered as I was rebuilding my world and just embracing who I truly am was that I have always been attracted to both men and women. And, you know, at this point, I'd been married for how many years, right? So my initial thought was, well, you know, does it matter? What's the point, right? Sure. And then in a night of just brave vulnerability, which has always been really hard for me, I told Sean, I said, you know, I'm bisexual. And his response was beautiful. It was like, thank you for trusting me enough to share that. And what are we going to do about this? Because you need to experience that. You need, you know, how are we going to do this? And that sort of led to Hito. And we went to Hito with a group that we had just picked randomly, mostly because it fit our calendar. And while we were there, we did not swing.
Were you in this lifestyle before you went there? So you didn't do anything?
Nothing.
And was this before the bye week? Or
it was, in fact, they announced bye week while we were there, which is what led to
you were at
all of
Hito's
this.
when
We were in Hito,
Gotcha.
yes.
We went to Hito because honestly, our sex life had gotten pretty plain. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I want to learn about tantric sex. And I was like, oh, I know a place because I've heard about Hito on the radio. Right. And I was like, oh, I know a place, but I think it's a nudist swinger thing. And she's always been good with nudity. And she goes, yeah, but we don't have to swing, but I'd like to go check that out. So for her birthday, we went, and then that's when we heard about it.
Now, how long have you guys been married?
We just had our 40th anniversary together.
Wow.
Together.
Married 35.
And next week will be our 35th wedding anniversary.
Oh,
wow, that's great.
Thanks.
So, quick question: had you experimented at all bisexuality on your own as a child, or earlier on?
Middle school
Type of thing. So now that's sort of rekindling things that you wanted to maybe research and sort of go after and do that kind of thing. Okay,
exactly.
So I was trying to get a sort of a timeline as to where you were going with.
Yeah,
this
no, I had played a little in middle school. Very much enjoyed it. My mom's a pretty domineering woman, and the idea that she would have a queer child was absolutely not okay. And, you know, I knew it was expected of me. And I met this kid in high school, and he's a pretty good guy. And we love each other. We've always loved each other. I think we're one of the lucky high school marriages that sort of we grew up together instead of growing apart. Sure. But when we went to Hito, our experience in that February was, wow, these people are so friendly. Now we know people were hitting on us. Yeah. We did not get that at all, right? He was my one and only. We were each other's first. Yeah. Like, it just wasn't even on our thing. But then they announced bye week, and I was like, I have to go to that. Like, I have to go to that. Because it was become a part of my journey, you know, and I just really wanted to. Tom and Bunny happened to be there when we were leaving. They were setting up for whatever was happening the following week, and we talked to them, and that was that. And then,
interesting.
We get to Hito, and we meet Ricky, and you know.
That's interesting. So, I didn't realize that you had been there before, and then that's how you sort of got hooked onto that.
So in between those two Hito trips, did you guys experiment or dabble with other couples at all?
No, not at all.
So it was a lot of just conversations and talking. And things like
Lots
that.
of talking, like 3 hour every night for 6 months, literally. Wow. Just talking. What if this happens? What are we going to do if this happens? What if we went through everything, and of course, none of those situations ever come up. But it was
good to talk about.
So you never went to any local clubs or did anything like that, or listened to
nothing.
anything? Wow.
No.
Okay.
Wasn't even on our radar.
But it created a communication and a trust in us that we had never experienced before.
Yeah.
And being all those years together, stuff that I was like, I'm too ashamed to bring up to her, started coming out, and same with her. And once we realized,
was stuff with you that you had experienced or done or wanted to do?
No, just
things.
Shame. You know, and opinions and
right.
And she was very accepting, and she did the same thing, and we were very accepting. This whole first bye week was about her because I was
Right.
straight.
I know. Yeah, that wouldn't get to that part. You guys are gonna find this very.
Which I know pissed off a lot of people. I was there, but I generally my entire life
I
I've
don't
grown
know.
up
You
around.
never get me. Yeah.
I've grown up around gay people. I had friends who were gay.
Yeah, because you
and
guys
it
were
just
from
never,
San Francisco
Yes.
originally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were. It was no big deal.
Right.
It was just
Right.
normal
Right.
to me.
And Sean was there to support me. He was gonna help
He
me
was there,
along
heart and soul.
my
He was
journey,
definitely there,
right?
heart and soul.
Right. And so I think the difference between our two Hito trips was the first one, like I said, we didn't play with anybody. We just were there for the nudity. And I'd say that 50% of the people we traveled with were just there for the nudity.
Sure.
Bi-week is a whole different
yeah.
vibe, as
Whole
anyone
different
who has
animal.
been there knows, right?
You talk about going right in the middle, just sort of
Right.
jumping
Yes.
in the middle of
Yeah.
it. It was like that.
Well,
was,
I heard on one video I watched this couple. They spent part of their honeymoon at Hito because it was the only place that had vacancy, and they're like, "Oh, dude, this is like the Super Bowl of swinging," and we just got jumped in, and we don't know what's
Were you
going on.
bi-week or just in general?
Just in general.
Just in general. Hitos, yeah.
Audrey and I saw that, and we were
Yeah.
just cracking up because we were like, "That's what we did." We just
Yeah.
we didn't realize Hito's like the Super Bowl
Yeah.
of the
And
swinging.
bi-week,
and then
no,
bi-week is a
bi-week
whole
is the
different
Super
level.
Bowl. Yeah, Hito's
it's
the
another
major
level.
league.
It's like coming to the mansion parties here. People go to regular parties. It's like, wait a minute, this is not the same.
No.
This is not the
No.
same way that we usually party at regular lifestyle events. So
Well, we joke about that, but if we're being real, what's special about our community is the human beings who attend these events. And when we arrived at Hito, talk about love. I mean, everybody just welcomes everyone, and there's such full acceptance, and it's
a completely
really
different
a
energy.
beautiful experience
Well, you know why
to
that is.
attend that.
It's because we all have one thing in common. We're all bi.
Right, exactly.
And that can be
except for the straight guy.
right,
Yeah.
except for Sean.
the straight guy.
Me and the two other husbands that week.
Right?
You know, there's that bidar or gaydar or whatever
Bi-fi.
you want to call it, the bi-fi,
Bi-fi,
whatever.
yeah.
And you never got that impression. I'm like, okay, and it's funny because sometimes I'll do profiles and I'll talk to somebody and I'm like, really? I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. It's okay. When I tell people a lot of times they're like, oh, but they listed themselves as straight. I said, if they signed up and they did this, and this, there's something else there that they're
Right.
sort of looking at. They want to sort of get some more information about and doing. And it's like, who am I to judge that? Who
Right.
am I to say that's right or wrong?
Absolutely.
Or not, their process of whatever it
Absolutely.
needs to be. Everybody has their own process, and it's unusual that we all have our own different processes and having this.
Right.
I mean, what is it you say, Ricky? A good third of your customers or I should say guests that come to your events, a third of your guests that come to your events are they've never even touched another PP before.
Yeah, they're looking for
Right.
a PP at a touch.
Right.
So that's really a lot of about the exploring, and that gives that people opportunity because they don't get the opportunity. And if they do, it's migrating through the lifestyle because a lot of people, being a bi male in the lifestyle is not looked upon as being a very acceptable thing for whatever reason, just because of, I guess, past people have just been shunned away from that. And it's, it's still in the closet for whatever reason, even in the lifestyle. And it's more so that how they want to come out and how they try to find that, of experiencing that is really tough. So they've never really even been able to touch a PP, another
Right.
PP, so to come to this kind of party and they get an opportunity, not only one, but a multiple of that and see it actually happening, it makes it a lot, the pain is gone.
And not even that, but okay, so like some curious straight guys, bi-curious guys might go to like a gay bathhouse or something.
Right. Different experience completely.
Yeah, that's a total different experience too.
Look, I was actually pretty fortunate. My first experience was with a couple, and they were very nice, and I was the guest star of the night, so that was a really amazing time. But I just know that if my first experience with another man was at a bathhouse, I probably would have been like, yeah, that's not for me, because when you go to a place like that, consent is implied.
Right.
Consent
right.
doesn't exist. We're here. That's the golden rule. You don't ask consent, you're out of here.
Well, and one of the things that's also really special about this particular community, and by that I mean Dual Desires, but also the bi community, is that there's a lot of mentorship that happens within this community. So it's been really amazing for me to watch Sean sort of bloom into who he's becoming. Absolutely. And I've watched him go through these stages. And one of the hardest stages for me to watch Sean struggle with was, I don't think I'm bi enough to fit in, right? You know, and that was really you know, he'd say, boy, I really enjoy, you know, sucking on a penis, but I don't think I'm ready for this or that or whatnot. And he would doubt himself. And every single time it was another man within our community that helped sort of put their arm around him and guided him through that. And, you know, how incredible is that people who've walked before you are so willing to share their story and their knowledge and help someone they've really just met. I mean, that's pretty special.
Absolutely. Well, again, it's, you know, I always say it's like two perfect strangers coming together, sharing the vibe and the groove and the good feelings, and then helping each other out. I'm very much a thing where the lifestyle is about uplifting each other, especially this
So, Sean,
community.
how was that for you going the first time to Bi Week?
Yeah, the very first time, to 2023.
Real quick, she does not give herself enough credit for all the women she has gone to and gotten advice, and her strength and blossoming from those bi women has been incredible. If you've seen her,
no, it's both. It's both. It's men. It's
for her own journey.
For my journey,
So,
men and women within this community are amazing.
But so the first Hedo, I was straight, right? My whole focus that entire time was to make sure she got her desire that she needed. We'd gone to Seattle Pride. We went to the first Disney Pride in Disneyland. Everything was focused around her. I care less about me or swinging, or we were going for her. So that was my entire focus. Even though we did hook up, we did have our first swing experience. It didn't go very well, but
Why don't you tell us about that?
awkward, you know? I mean,
well, they kind of catfished us.
Oh, that's too bad.
And we thought the woman was making waves with her.
I was communicating regularly with the woman
doing everything.
Yeah, it was actually him. Yeah. So for me, that was and now when I have confidence, that's a hot no. But at the time, I didn't catch it. So, but again, anything has been a learning thing for us. It's been nothing but positive in the sense that we have grown so much. We call this marriage 2.0 because our communication is on point at this point,
so
right?
Going back to what you were saying, Sean, the first time you went to,
Yeah, I was an ally, a friend. Nothing. I tell this story all the time. I reached over to get a drink. I was talking to someone, and I reached over to get a drink, and one guy was blowing another guy right next to me, and I went, oh, that's cool. And I just turned around and went back. That stuff never bothered me. It never occurred to me. It didn't turn me on at the time. It didn't turn me off. It was happening. And, oh, good. Those two guys are having a good time. I'm happy for them. Because my focus was on her.
What was the paradigm shift? Like, what was it that made you say, you know what? I think I might want to try that.
Well, this is kind of a story, and it's a little bit dark.
We're here for you, man.
So my whole focus has been on Audrie. And when Ricky had a bi party in Vegas, which is basically right down the street from Boise, and we're very familiar with Vegas. Her parents used to live there. So we were like, oh, yeah, that sounds perfect. We're familiar with the area. We'll go down there, support Ricky. I'm still straight.
Now, was this after Bi Week or before Bi Week?
After Bi Week.
Correct.
So this is before Bi Week 2024.
Yes.
Okay.
And it all came down to the one day the pool was open and a gentleman with very large testicles walked by, and his testicles were hanging out of his bikini. And Audrey's like, oh, let me help you with that. And she's helping put it in. She's got a ball fetish. And he turned to me and he said, okay, your turn. And in my head, I said, no, thank you, sir. I'm doing okay. But I guess I came out, nah, I'm good. And Audrey came back to me and she's like, Ben, you were so rude and disrespectful. And I was like, what happened? And she goes, you were just incredibly rude. And I think and then I started questioning, why was I rude, right? The next day, Dave and Roxanne, who drove us here, invited us to go to a party in Palm Springs. And
a bi party.
And Audrey was pretty much like, you can't go to that. You're not bi. And I was like, well, you need to go because you need to figure out who you are without your husband over your back going, what about her? What about him? What about her? What about her? Which I was doing at the first Tito.
Right.
Which I was doing and wasn't helping her.
Because you were trying to help.
So,
Yes.
Supportive.
So the party was 6 weeks after your party. And in that 6 weeks, I went into a dark, dark part of my life. Just, I couldn't understand these feelings that were coming up. I wasn't jealous that she was going with another man, that she was going to stay in a hotel with another guy, that she was going to go party with other and play with. None of that bothered me. It was something going on, and I couldn't figure it out. My therapist couldn't figure it out. There was a point where I got so dark that I considered suicide because I couldn't understand what was going on. That quickly, thankfully, went away. And I said, no, you need to dig deeper. You need to figure out what's going on here. She goes to the party. I didn't sleep for 5 days. I didn't eat for 5 days. I'm like, what's going on? I'm journaling. I journaled like 40 pages trying to figure stuff out. I'm a complete wreck. And I'm like, God, I might be bisexual. I've had that stuff when I was young. Me and
You should talk about that, Sean. You have experience with bisexuality from when you were young, and you enjoyed it.
Well, I listening to other podcasts and even like yours, typical story. Guys are like, oh yeah, we used to suck dick, but I really liked it. And me and my best friend, we really liked it. And it wasn't until, and then one day we got caught by his brother. What are you faggots doing in there? Boom, shut down. Complete shutdown.
The shame curtain came down.
And then about a month later, I was molested by a friend of our family, someone my age, who was stronger than me and held me down. So all that stuff just box, put away. We're not even thinking about that stuff anymore. And that's how it was. I met her a few years later. I always knew she was bi. She's always looking at breasts. Oh, look at that fat ass. Look at those breasts. I always knew. But I kept it in a box. I never investigated it. I didn't even masturbate till I was 21. Sexuality was not even a thing. And so she comes back at the airport, and I pick her up at the airport, and I'm watching the plane come in. I'm like, oh, here it comes. I can already feel it bubbling up. She comes around the corner, and she comes and goes, oh, I missed you. Boom, on my knees, full just explosion of tears, and I'm crying.
He lost it. He completely
for like 10
fell
minutes.
apart.
I'm in the middle of the terminal, just crying, going, I don't know what's going on. I can't do this. I think I'm bi. And she goes, I know you are. She goes, it's okay. It's okay. And just instantly, it was like, oh, okay.
Because we played with men and women at our first Tito experience. So, it's okay to be who we are.
But I didn't grow up like that. I grew up in an environment where you take care of yourself, and we don't do that. And so that shame is a powerful motherfucker. It holds you down a lot. And so I called Ricky and I said, dude, I need to talk.
Now this was after the airport when she came back.
Yeah.
So I got a phone call, and that was what you called me, and I was like, will you talk? And I remember that call.
Yeah. And I said, I really need to talk. And you're like, why are you letting that guy's brother hold that over your head? Mm-hmm. It's been 30 something years. Why are you letting that motherfucker? I think that's a quote. Why are you letting that motherfucker hold that power over you? Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh. And then I reached out to Justin Skaggs, write this giant thing. Like, I think this is this. And he writes me this one thing that I got tattooed on my arm. Just keep being you, all of you, because you're fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. First time in my life someone had said I was awesome. Here I'm in my 50s, right? Mm-hmm. That's just not how I grew up. That's not how we talked. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And then 2 months later at Boise Pride, I came out fully.
Fully
blast.
Came out. Like
Facebook
publicly
blast.
came out.
Facebook
blast.
Okay, I had a phone call. This guy was having struggling times. He was feeling like he's going to jump off a bridge. And then all of a sudden now he's like gay pride. And it's like, yeah, I'm here. Fuck you. Here I am. I'm going to live this life. And you don't care who you are. I was like, you go, boy.
But I was having a tough time with it because Audrie had spent 5 years to get to that point. Mm-hmm. And then again, I talked to you, and you said, you've been helping Audrie
Yep.
And through that, she has paved the road for you to follow. And that really struck a chord with me, because then it made me feel, because I felt terrible. It's like I read books on bisexuality. I don't read. I read like 3 books in 2 weeks, and all the podcasts, and specifically for bi men.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay. But I did find out coming out as bi was the easy part. It was the part.
It's the self-acceptance.
It's the part
Yes.
after that.
Yes, 100%.
And I've spent the last 2 years. I think I've finally gotten over
You
that
got to find a
hump.
balance, because you swing one way all the way, and then
Yeah.
you swing back the other, and it's like I see balance when I swing by it. You know, it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
because you go from one extreme to the next, and it's like I know that you're like, you know, I don't have to do everything. I remember because we went back to another event, and the last time I said, "How you doing?" He says, "Good." I realized something. I don't have to do everything that somebody else wants me to do. I can just do what I feel comfortable.
That's the thing
Yes.
when you listen to the podcasts and you listen to, and I'm so jealous of you guys and all the guys you've had on your podcast and all the guys I've talked to. Oh yeah, I've always known since I was a teenager. Yeah, I did some stuff in high school in my 20s, and then I got married, and I just put it back in the closet and whatever. And I'm like, well, shit, I didn't know any of that stuff.
Right.
I mean, here I'm in my mid 50s, experiencing all this stuff for the first time. They've had time to unpack that and figure out stuff over. They have a 30-year head start on me, and here I am, like. I mean, I'm hearing stuff at parties. I had a guy at one party go, I don't know his name. I don't know anything about this guy. He just walks up to me and goes, let's go fuck. And I was like, no, I'm not really feeling that. And he goes, well, you fuck me then. And I'm like, no, I'm not really feeling that. And he looked at me like I just farted the worst fart ever. and that really threw me back.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not in that. He's there, obviously, but I'm not. I'm not ready for that kind of stuff yet. And that really threw me. And that's where she was talking about, there's a couple guys, Josh and Derek, that we met. And they've just
Through
kind
Dual
of,
Desires at Hito.
yes, that they just kind of took me, and I told them this, and they just kind of took me under their wing. They were the first guys who were like, it's okay. We've all been there. We've been there. We know how you feel. You don't have to do anything you don't want to, because the whole thing you think is like, oh, am I top? Am I bottom? Am I sucking dick? And what am I doing in this part? I'm at this party, so I got to do something.
Am I fisting or not?
Right?
It's like, wait a minute here. Slow down.
But that's the mentality that you go in, that I never had time to discover. And now all this is getting thrown on me, where all you guys have had decades to figure out where you're at.
Yeah, for me, my first experience was 2015.
Well, you're still learning now. I mean,
well,
we're
yes.
all learning.
We're all
Right.
still learning.
Yeah.
I think that's the point.
Every day's
Yeah.
a school day.
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I'm like,
But like, I mean, for me, like 2015 was my first experience. Got married in 2018 and had come out to her right away within 3 months. And then we started the whole lifestyle journey, and that's been 10 years. And, you know, but my bi journey, like the last year, I've really gotten into my bottom side again. And I'm like, I think that's what I like the most. I tried the topping, wasn't really my thing, you know, because I top with women. That's who I top. With men, I prefer to bottom, unless you're, you know, 22, shredded, you know, feminine. Sure, like, yeah, I'll top you. But most of the time, I'm going to bottom, you know? So it just takes time to figure out what you like, you know? Maybe you're just oral only, you know? There's plenty of guys out there that are oral only, you know? There's plenty of guys out there that, like Ricky said, they want to get fisted and very extreme things. So it's a spectrum, right? And you're here. Maybe you'll never get here, but as we always say in the lifestyle, never say never.
and you don't have to have a label, and that's the thing too. Is a lot of
Yes.
people want to think, oh, I have to. What am I? And it's like we were talking about that for a little bit. Is like, you know, you don't have to put a label on what it is. Just go with what works and what flows for you. You know, I mean, even you could say I'm a bottom, a top boy, you're a power bottom. Are you a submissive bottom? I mean, there's all different levels, you know, and it's like you have to find where you feel comfortable in being, regardless of what label anybody puts on you. You know, that's why we sort of open this up more to dual desires rather than before when we were formerly by events, because we really are more about, you know, this, you know, finding themselves and what they desire and whatever that might be, you know.
This is where Audrey's been extremely helpful for me, is she's like, just be organic, stay off the sites, and just let's go with the flow. Because sometimes I'll see somebody and I go, oh, she's right up your alley, and she goes, well, I might not vibe with her, so I just wait to go to the party. Right. And she has taught me through that to do the same thing. Right. I just go, because I mean, there's people that are not the typical sexy people or whatever that I find hot as fuck. And then there's the people who are shredded, and I'm like, man, that guy's a dick. Right. I can't stand it. And I just, so I've learned, Audrey has taught me how to just be organic. And last September, we went to a party in Seattle, and I had my first male pile. And that was it was a lot of fun because I knew all the men. And I trusted all of them, and trust is so hard for me to project to other people. Oh, absolutely. I've just had trust torn from me throughout my entire life and my upbringing. So for me to give that to people is a big deal. And so I was in a very safe environment. And when it happened, everything was safe until the bed broke.
You know something? Until the bed broke. You know, in the BDSM, and I'll bring this up because, you know, in the BDSM community, the sub is actually the one that's in power.
That's me.
Yep.
Yes. So giving that power is the power.
Yes.
You know, by giving up that, I don't do what you want to do, you have now given them that control. Has not been in the sense of now they're going to do whatever. You still have your ability to say, okay, I'm done. I don't want to do this, or this is okay. This is my limit, or what it might be. And that was one thing that a lot of people don't get is like they think that, oh, in that community. And that's the same thing that happens here. You know, when I want a bottom, or I'm actually in a bottom role, I am giving that up. And basically, I'm giving up what, you know, to the top or whoever that might be. And when it's a top situation, it's the other way around. You know, she's given me or he's given me that ability to be that top. You know, so that is really where a lot of people get confused, and they think that for whatever reason that they have to have one or the other. And it's like, you know, at any time you can take that back or you can change it in whatever you want to.
Absolutely. So let's, Audrey, I had a question for you. So from your perspective, what's it been like watching Sean grow
it's been
from
amazing.
This very like scared little puppy to this very fluid sexual, like bisexual dog or man now, you know? So
it's been amazing. I'm so proud of this man because the emotional and the psychological hurdles that he has, accomplished in this very short amount of time really has been nothing but amazing. And look, he just touched earlier on his inability to trust, and that is really hard even in the swinging world. Take the bisexuality out, that's hard. And so to watch him overcome those obstacles, it's been so amazing. I frankly find everything that I've witnessed very hot and sexy. So for me, this has been nothing but a great turn on, you know. But
that's one of your
and that's a giant hurdle for me is the shame, especially in front of her. I'm like in the back of my head, not so much anymore, but in the beginning it was like, oh, she's gonna hate me. She's gonna.
I could never hate him, but I get that he had
dirty
that
queer.
fear.
What are you doing?
No.
It's funny you say that now because as strong as Kitty and I's relationship is, there are times like I have an itch I need to scratch, you know, and I want to go out and do it, but part of me feels guilty about going out and doing it, you know, and leaving her home. You know what I'm saying? So I get it 100% where you're coming from.
And I think that's a little bit different how you experience it, where I don't look for guys. A lot of times I hear these stories where it's like, I always knew I wanted to be with a guy, and I've never had that. Ironically, most of the men I've played with has been because I was attracted to their wife. And I played with their wife, and then actually the hottest thing that's ever happened to me in the bisexual was I was eating a woman out, and she stopped me, and she called her husband. She says, get over here and taste me. And then he and I made out with her juice on me. I just about lost my shit. And so, and then he and I played a little bit later, but I think it was the whole BDSM. She dommed me, and then there was that bisexual thing. But I don't go into these things going.
You don't search it out.
I don't have a desire. I know there's a lot of guys. I've heard stories like when they were younger, like I cheated on my wife. I just had to scratch that itch. I don't ever have that itch. But when we get to a party and things start, again, it's Audrie. Everything starts happening organically, and you get that energy, and next thing you know, you're reaching low, and you're kissing, and then it gets hot, and that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's very cool.
I think one of my favorite parts about Sean's journey, and again, when he went out public, Facebook public, so fast, I was like, whoa, like it made me a little nervous for him. But one of my favorite parts of that is that we live in an incredibly conservative community. And we recently ran into a family whose son is the same age as our son's age. So we've known this little boy since he was 5. He's 24 now, and he gave Sean a hug, and he is gay, and he gave Sean a hug, and he said that it really helped him in his journey, that this man he's admired for years and years and years in our community put it out there for the whole world to see. And for me, that's one of my favorite parts of watching Sean's journey, is watching him hear stuff like that and feel like he is making a difference, because he doesn't understand his worth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just don't give a fuck anymore. I'm at that age where
that's the age. Yeah.
I have a union job. They can't touch me. I can't be doxxed. Try to dox me. What are you going to find?
Right.
You know, so, and I understand I'm extremely lucky. So, but Audrie was like, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm like, I have to do this, because if I keep this under, I'm just going to be miserable still.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, that's why I like the podcast, and that's why I really wanted to do this, because I think, you know, I struggled in certain aspects, you know, even growing up in an open relationship that I did and everything, and mother and father and everybody I had that loved and cared about me and didn't really care and didn't give a fuck and told me, don't give a fuck about nobody else, just do your thing. I still felt shame and guilt in my own head about that. Yeah. You know, my mother's been gay all my life that I can remember, and I still felt shame going to her and telling her I was bisexual. And if I struggled that much, think about the person or the guy that's in the middle of nowhere that knows everybody from they growing up. He think he's going to go out and want to share this, or God forbid, go some party and then, you know, have a desire. And it's like, so we all have a story, and all stories are unique. And yours is very unique, just like anything else. And I'm glad, and I really want to thank you for coming and telling your story, because that's, you know, when I met you in the pool at Hito's, you know, and you're standing in this pool butt-ass naked with all the rest of these butt-ass naked people around here, and you're just chilling out, you know, you could care less about anybody else in here, and you kept saying you're just here to help Audrie, you're just here to support Audrie. And I go, okay, that's good. You know, and somebody came up to me and I was like, dude, just leave him alone. I said, this man, he will find his way no matter what it is, just like everybody else will. And he will have a story that's unique just like anybody else. And that's what this is about, you know, because there's not anybody else in this world. You have to live your own life, you know, and who am I to judge you if it's right or wrong? Right. You know, I mean, you know, there's people that come here all the time, and it's like, what are they into, and what they're wanting to do is definitely not necessarily you know, my yummy might be your yuck, but it's like, you know, it's still my yummy, you know, leave it alone. Let it be what it is.
Never yuck somebody else's yum.
That's it.
Yep.
You know, so
that's golden rule number 2.
There you go.
So I'm really grateful that you guys are here, and you've grown as much as you have in a very short period of time. I'm very proud of you. Very good.
Yeah. So thank you. And I wanted to say, or ask you, so looking, we talked about 2023 bi-week. So now that you've gone through this transformation and you've had this epiphany and this realization, and you know, now it's your second time at Hito. So tell us a little bit about the second trip, well, technically the third trip, but the second bi-week. So it must have been a completely different experience.
God, I don't even remember the second
2024 bi-week 2024.
Again, for me, it wasn't like I'm going to Hito and I'm finding all the dudes I can find to get this. I just don't have that itch.
Right.
I don't have that itch to scratch. It's like, we will partner with, or we'll have a group. Oh, that's when we had that big group. That's when we had that big group orgy in the playroom.
Right.
And, but it was just people just coming in, and all people, hey, get in here.
It's about the friendships and
the
community.
And relationships.
She's got like 3 guys on her, and I'm sucking dick, and we're just having a great time. That's what it was about. That's what it's about for me. Is the energy and the vibe. There wasn't an itch I'm scratching. It's just, hey, it's there. Let's go.
But your comfort level was there. Your confidence had grown, for sure.
So you would say that your time Your experience the first time was a solid like 7.5, 8.
I mean, I got
second time was solid 10.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
I mean, that year I got face fucked for the first time, which was a lot of fun. Which she's still mad she missed.
I'm so mad I missed it. I went to bed. I missed
you
it.
did
I
not.
did.
And there was somebody having a birthday, and the wife was trying to get his age and dick sucks, and I just went way out of my comfort zone and joined in, and then I quickly left because I was scared. But I went back and told her, and I said it was fun, but it was just it was like I'm pushing myself every time we do an event. I'm pushing myself to try something to see where I land or where I fit. Audrey hates that, and I hate it too, but it's kind of the only way I can express it. To see what I like. I mean, if you don't try it, you don't know if you like it or you don't like it, right? So
absolutely. And how does it make you feel when you try something maybe that you hadn't tried before, and you're like, and now you know, okay, I like that. I'm going to keep doing that.
It again comes down to the man or the. I have 4 doms and the women, so I enjoy them. So when they hurt me, it's with love and knowledge and appreciation for me. But when a man gets super aggressive with me, like I was at one party and he grabbed my dick so hard and he shoved it in his mouth and he toothed me as it went in, and then he's like, and I had to push him off, and I was like, okay, well that's not good. That's not the kind of pain I'm looking for, right? You know, and he was just that guy was, and that was a guy I didn't know. He just, but everyone else knew him, and they were like, oh, that was probably just a mistake. But again, it's now I know I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for aggressiveness from men. Women, I love aggressiveness. I love it, but not for men. At best, and I've come to this conclusion: I am not a dom. I have tried switching and doming, and I hate it. I just hate it.
It's a lot of energy, right? A lot of work.
Yeah, and I want at best I want to be an equal with the partner.
Right.
Well, and I think for Sean, this journey started with the BDSM community, right? For me, it started with bisexuality, but for Sean, it started with the BDSM community. So a lot of times those two things are very easily weaved together, and sometimes Sean gets a little, I think, intimidated by things. And then, like most of us, he backtracks. And, you know, what is that? 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Right. And so, you know, he's just slowly making his way through, figuring out what works for him. But I think by week 2025 was the first time he felt really comfortable, correct me if I'm wrong, saying, hey, I'm a bi man, right? And here I am. These are my people. This is my community. And because this particular community is such a special group of people, how could you not feel warm and welcomed, which makes him feel safe, which brings up the trust. You know, we've gained so much from this community. It's just a gift. I can't imagine not being a part of our lives at this point. You know, I'll always be grateful, Ricky, that you started what you started here, because for us, we fell into it at Hito, but it was because you were there. That wouldn't have ever happened without you. So
it's funny how people can touch others' lives over one choice.
Right? And it completely shift your world in such a positive way.
Absolutely.
So I want to. That's going to be my highlight. This is my shirt for today.
It says, "Be yourself. They'll adjust."
They'll adjust.
Be yourself, and they will adjust.
They will adjust.
So,
it's
and
true.
that being said, you know, that's really what it's all about. Is that, you know, we tend to focus on the Joneses and what the Joneses do and what they drive and how they live and what they have and what they're going to think when I get this or I do this and I do that. And it's like, you know what? At some point when we get over it and we start getting older and we go, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do what I want to do and let them deal with the way they're going to deal with it. It's like the bottom line is, and that was when I was sitting at the computer and I was thinking, do I want to let the world know that I'm bisexual? You know, you have the drop down boxes all on the, you know, the questionnaire on this, you know, on the swingers
Profiles,
lifestyle profile. You know, you had to pick on this, and it's like, you know what? I sort of sat there and I said, well, if I want to be in the closet and then, you know, not be myself, then I'm going to attract the people that aren't being themselves also. And it's like, do I want to be real and be who I am and let people do what they need to do? I went ahead and did that. And of course, I still was in the back of my head, but I'm thinking I'm being judged and whatever. And I think that's where this was really about. It's like, you know what? I want to go to parties where people feel comfortable that they're here. You know, we're having this Atlanta deal come up, and there's actually some people that I'm working with there. And one of the biggest things I said is like, their staff, everybody there needs to be bisexual. There's nobody that needs to be, because I want people to feel comfortable with being themselves and not have to worry about being judged or fear that anybody else is there is going to judge them or whatever they do. And even if they do, then they're just, you know. But real bottom line is that that's what we want to have here, you know, and that's why we try to do that here at these parties.
Well, that's how confidence gets built. And
Correct.
confidence is really the key. I know for me, when I started my bisexual journey, I found myself sleeping mostly with men because that's what I knew how to do. And so I had more confidence in that area. Reaching out for women was terrifying for me. And I kind of feel like that's where Sean's at now. He always talks about how he's most comfortable with the wives first. And I think that's because that's what he's always known, you know, and once he feels safe with this couple, then he can take the next step. But it's as his confidence grows, and I've, you know, seen it grow leaps and bounds, he gets a little bit more comfortable. And I think that that's a common theme for a lot of people who come out later in life.
So as a couple, how did this new layer of openness and communication change your connection and your relationship? Obviously for the better. But
Take this one,
how did it change you?
Well, nothing's off the table. I mean, we'll just bring stuff up and talk about it. And boy, we had some pretty big mistakes by just a couple. We didn't have like a lot in the beginning, which I think the talking, like I said earlier, really helped. But no matter how much you talk about stuff's going to happen. Yeah. And everything, like we had a mistake. I had a mistake at Hito, not we. I
like to call them learning opportunities and not mistakes.
But we were done the rest of the week because we need the reset. And we talked and we talked and we talked and we talked, but we realized we needed to back off. And that's something in the past it would have just stewed under the surface, and we just would have been pissed at each other for doing it and not talking or not. Because that's just what you did when you grew up in the 70s and 80s, right? You don't talk about anything. You just stick it under the bed, and you don't talk about it.
Put it in the box and lock it away.
That's right. So that part of communication and kinks, I've told her like just about every kink. I just told her a new one recently, and she was open to it, and I'm very excited about it. So
what is it, if you don't mind sharing?
It's a fantasy of mine that...
goes to the mansion party.
Well, this has been on our bucket list, so we're really excited to be here.
I've always had this fantasy of having her go to a bar at a hotel and us renting a room and have guys. She still struggles a little bit with it, but people are really attracted to her, and she just gives off this energy and this vibrance. And she just told me a story about the guy last week at the toy store for our kid. You know, she bought my son a Christmas present, and the guy hit on her, and she just flirted with him, and I was in a tizzy. So my fantasy is she'll pick up I'll sit off in the distance, and I'll watch her pick some guy up and take him upstairs, and then she'll call me and go, okay, we're done, and I'll come up and then have her tell me all about it. And
That's funny.
And a couple of years ago, she was like, that's never happened. But this time she's like, yeah, maybe I could see that happening. And I'm like, oh, now I'm in the froth.
I have a quick story. So I went to Vegas. It was 2022. And I went to, it was 3/11 day. So I was having a good time. But I was really like, I need to have some fun because the show had ended at midnight. And I was on SLS, and this couple had hit me up. Long story short, it was one of these situations. And I shower, I get dressed, I go to their hotel, and I'm looking for her, and she sees me in like the casino, and she looks me up and down. And she says, "Oh yeah, you'll be good.
You'll do."
So we have the quick elevator pitch, like literally talking, the quick talk in the elevator. Get up to the room, we do our thing, you know. And he wanted pictures. You know, and anyway, he walked in just as we finished, and it was a great time. So yeah, definitely that's on your bucket. If that's on your list, totally do it. Totally
But
do it.
everything is
obviously with someone you trust. You know?
Absolutely.
It's obviously her comfort level, and I would never ask her to do anything she was never comfortable with. Like I say, I call her Mama. That's our BDSM name for her. She's my mama, and she rules over everything. Nothing happens without her. We don't go to a party without her, okay? We don't go anywhere. I do everything at home. I do dishes. I do laundry. I do all the cleaning. I love it. I love pleasing her. It's my favorite thing.
One of your love languages are acts of service.
100%.
So
He's amazing.
What about you, Audrey? What's one of your love languages?
Oh, my love language is intimacy. So I joke that at these parties, like just talking, that's foreplay for me. Right. We don't have to touch each other before. As long as we have a great convo, then I'm in, right? So, but my biggest takeaway from this, what the gift of the lifestyle has given us is communication. We can communicate about anything now, and it's been amazing. It's a real gift.
We know we can overcome anything. We've gone through some pretty bad traumas. Each one of us has almost died. And the first person we woke up to in the hospital was the other. Oh, wow. And we've had a tree crush our house and had to move out of a house and, be homeless for basically 6 months. Wow. So we've gone through a lot of stuff together, but I feel like that was easy compared to what we're doing now, because now we're digging deep into each other's soul, and we're still doing it.
Well, our marriage is our number one priority.
Yes.
We always say that going into any party, any resort takeover, any hotel takeover, any play with friends. It's always. So if one of us, for whatever reason, says not feeling this, then it's done. It's over. No questions asked. And so
the example would be the Hito I just gave you. She was done, and so we were done. Even though I wasn't, but it didn't matter what I thought, because one was done, and that was it. But she would do the same thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So do you guys go to any lifestyle events in your area, or is it more or less just travel?
No, he's looking at me. That's my question.
It's a running joke between
us. Because I have set a boundary that we do not play at home. And at first it's because we live in a very conservative community. I work in a high school. That just didn't feel safe to me in my protecting my job. That's how it started. Now I look back on that and I think really that was about my own personal shame. I didn't want someone to find out and know. But what I love about my don't play at home rule is that it keeps things really exciting, because we do. Absolutely. We travel for fun, and we travel a lot. That 1, 2, 3. I can think of 5, 6 things we did last year. And that's a lot of fun.
I think I've been to Seattle twice in my lifetime, and we went 4 times last year.
Oh, wow. Right.
Going up to parties and stuff. Yeah. So, and that's like at an arm distance, and we really enjoy the people up there.
Because I was going to ask you, because if maybe you can still answer this question, but if you're surrounding yourself in bi environments, you're probably not going to experience this. But have you, Sean, experienced any discrimination or any issues because you're bisexual?
No, because they're all scared. I mean, I have bi stuff on my water cup when I walk in. I hold it and Hito sticker and all this stuff, and it's like no one says anything because they know I'm going to tell them where to go and how I feel about it. And like I said, I'm in a no fucks to give type part of my life.
No, that's good. I always ask because it means I've experienced it, and I'm sure
did
Ricky
early
has.
Early on, he said that was one of the things that happened that broke him up when he was, playing around and he had this situation.
But I mean,
recently now that he's coming out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What I mean by my question is just while in the lifestyle. So
no, nothing because we don't do vanilla events anymore. We call it vanilla Hito, so we don't go to those weeks.
I call them straight parties, but
I know the other day I was sitting, it was so funny. We were sitting at home and Princess came over. She was like, hey, babe, I want to go out. I'm looking on. I'm like, do I really want to drive all that way? Do I want to shave my nuts for that? No, I don't want to do any of that. I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't, it's like, for me, I was just like, it's ruined my parties, It's like
I told you, Ricky. I told you.
I just to sit here and watch TV and hang out. I was like, I'll just wait for the weekend when we're gonna have a party.
It's funny. I was like a year into coming to Ricky's parties here, and I kept telling everybody look, I want to warn you, if you go to his parties, it's going to ruin other parties for you.
It's true.
And sure enough,
It's
it's
true.
true. I've been doing this for 9 years, and honestly, like, forget all those other parties. The only other party I'm going to go to are the ones that I host.
Okay, but it's two-sided, because what I got from it was true community. Like,
Absolutely.
yes, there is a swinging lifestyle in Boise, but we don't have a big bi community. Openly bi. Yes, right. How right you are, sir. And I expressed that at Hito to some people who were living in Washington that we'd become friends with, but just acquaintances, really. Sure. And one of them, his response was, he put his arm around us and he said, well, you've got a community now. And they weren't kidding. Yeah. They invite us to every single event that they have in the Washington area. Oh, wow. And we make a point of going on a regular basis because that is our community. Yeah. And I think that's my greatest takeaway from the life, especially the bi lifestyle community. I have a new family, and as someone who grew up in an unstable environment, that's not something that I'm used to having. Right. So this has been a true gift for the two of us to have this group of friends that are like family. That it's been amazing.
That's awesome.
And I say this, it's being the reason why, it's like the focus on why I did this was because of you. Mm-hmm. Because of the guy that was in the couple's relationship that fought with himself about being bisexual and didn't want to be himself. And I knew how I struggled wanting to be accepted and wanting there. And it's like, so the focus has always been about that, the bi guy in a couple's relationship, regardless if they're admitting it now or not. It gives them an opportunity to come and to explore. And that's why I want to continue doing these parties. And we will continue doing these parties, but also doing the podcast and doing, other events and other things, meeting, whatever it might be, is for that. That is, you are the person the direct person that we are looking at, not because of anybody else differently or anything else, because that is so needed.
So important.
It's
so needed.
It's not even just about, throwing mattresses on the floor, just throwing a party down. It's about helping change people's lives.
Exactly.
And when you called me and you were like, on the edge of just being like, I can't live like this anymore. And what do I do? And and it's like, for me to be there for you, and we're there for anybody, if anybody wants to call or be there. I know that Jay, anybody. Absolutely. And all of us, now that's why we are a community. It's not just about having these parties, but it's about helping us deal with and to be the true person that we want to be.
It was very amazing to me with the trust issues and the shame, just walking up to men my own age. Mm-hmm. And I see their name tag, but I don't know them. And just saying, hey, can you tell me your story? Mm-hmm. No one's never said no. Mm-hmm. Everyone's very open, which was important for me. It was huge.
Absolutely.
Talking with a man who, former professional Ironman triathlete, mm-hmm. breakdown, telling me his story, mm-hmm. was amazing to me and helped me realize, I'm not the only one who has this giant wall of shame I'm trying to
And there's
scale.
People sitting at home right now, right this moment, watching this podcast and listening to this podcast that are having that. And mm-hmm. that's what this is about, and we continue to do that. And it's like those small milestones. It's like, not a major taking over the world. It's just one step at a time and just helping, those people that want to have that, have that. And have that.
But I hope, Ricky, that you understand the legacy you've created, because we have it's like a wave, a ripple effect. Like, you welcomed us at a time when Sean was still saying I'm straight, right? And it was all about me, right? And I got what I needed from that week of Hito, and it was amazing, and it's definitely helped me to grow. But I also discovered that I have a strength in mentoring others. Mm-hmm. So when I met a man at my third bi Hito who expressed to me that his greatest fear was that his wife wouldn't be able to handle this because he was newly bi, and I was able to talk to him and say, hey, she's here with you, is she not? Right. We're here to support, because I get that Sean's fear was that I would be disgusted mm-hmm. by watching it. So each of us that you help, we ripple out a little bit, and you have created a ripple effect that is incredible. absolutely incredible. I hope you take
I
time
appreciate
sometimes
that. I
just
appreciate
to
that.
And it's not
realize
only
that.
it's not only bi-coastal, pardon the pun, but it's also international because there's people that are starting to come in from other countries now
Right.
because of you.
Right, because of what we have.
I just try to do the best I mean, I just try to be myself, and I just try to, how would I feel and how have I felt, and tell my story. It's not about doing specific things to change one. And, I may not ever meet anybody that I've met. And I'm fortunate that I met you and I've heard your story and talked about your story. But I think that when we're real to ourselves and we treat ourselves and others with respect, that we eventually, that ripple effect is an automatic thing that, it will eventually lead out to something else. And then you're true to who you are and who you say. You do what you say you do, and you're where you're going to be. And that's all part of this. And, that was what I've tried to live by. And I'm not trying to change the world. I'm just trying to become and be okay and with myself. And, when I had someone in this, a lot of people might know my story, but during COVID, I had someone ask me what would I want to do with my life and how I wanted, what would I like to do? Because I was really struggling with my lifestyle and what I was doing. I was an auto mechanic at the time. And I really was like, I don't really want to do this. I don't like it anymore. It's really a struggle. And he asked me, he says, if you had anything in the world to do, what would you do? And I said, I would love to travel the world and help change people's lives.
And here we are, end of
I know, and
2025.
it's like, wow, this is amazing because this
Right.
is where we are, and this is and that was like, wow, don't worry about the focus on the money. It's not about that. It's all about just doing what you got to do and helping and having that affirmation that you guys are about changing that life is what this is all about. And I appreciate you guys, and I love you so much. Thank you so
we
much.
love you
for-
too.
So with that being said, what's next for Sean and Audrie?
Ooh.
Any upcoming events?
They go to the
goals,
mansion party.
Right.
Any experiences?
We are here for the mansion party.
Yes.
We are West Coasters, so for us to come to a mansion party is a big deal. We're super excited to be here.
We're in the Florida. If none of you know, we're all the way
Yes.
over in Florida.
Yes. We have, like I said, formed a community on the West Coast. So we have some stuff coming up with them, which we're excited about. But the big news for us is that Sean is going to retire in May.
Nice.
I know, that's really exciting. And that will really free us up to be, because we don't play at home, that will really free us up to be able to do more. Because we've gained so many friends through this journey. We know people all across
over
the
the
United
world,
States, Canada, and the world.
We actually went on vacation with a couple back during this last summer, and I heard somebody say that on a podcast. I was like, "No, it'll never happen. I can't imagine going on," but it did, and we went to Canada, and it was awesome. It was one of the best trips I've ever had.
It was an amazing
was
week with
amazing.
these friends. Yeah. So
Friends you met through the bi community.
yes,
That's awesome.
actually met through by events at Hito. Woohoo! That's right.
Well, before we wrap it up, do you have any advice for any couples or any people out there that are experimenting with their bisexuality? Especially where one partner might be at the beginning of their journey and the other one might be not so at the beginning.
My advice would be just be yourself, because you're so amazing just how you are, and come out and meet an amazing community, because they're going to love you for exactly who you are. Just be yourself.
You're not alone. So that's something I found. I thought I was alone. I thought I was by myself. I thought when I told Audrie she was going to shame me, but she didn't. She supported me and loved me. Every man I've talked to and talked about their story or asked advice or called, everyone enthusiastically has responded. And so you're not alone. Reach out to anybody. Like Ricky and Jay said, we can reach out to them. You can reach out to me. I don't know you, but I love you. And I'm here for you. So
And how would people?
You don't have to do this alone.
How would people contact you? What's your Dual Desires user ID?
Boise by couple.
Boise bi couple. And any other social media?
No, we're not on any of the apps or anything.
Okay, so on Dual Desires, it's
Or
Boise bi couple.
Or Facebook. You can message me. I'm Sean Levine, SeanLavigne.
There you go.
You can instant message me. I'm willing to talk.
Very good.
I'm here to help.
And then anybody you want to shout out, say hello to?
Oh, we have so many shout outs,
you-
but
you got a minute?
especially,
Go ahead. This is your time. This is your
especially our
platform.
new community in Washington, because they had a lot more experience than we did. And, I mean, they really truly have made us part of their family, and they do some of their own events. There's one woman, well, it's a couple, but she does most of the work. But she puts on a camping trip and, in the summer, and it's such a safe environment. Your hand,
It's vetted. Everyone's vetted. There's like 200 people. Everyone's vetted, and it's the safest I've ever felt.
But we,
at an
yeah,
event.
our Washington folks know who they are, but they're pretty darn amazing. And then I gotta hand it out to the Florida people, because this is where we started, right? It was Ricky and his Florida crew. This is, this was our first family, and so we always have to, be grateful for them.
Absolutely.
So
I have. Can I add?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mentioned Derek and Josh, who put their arms around me and really guided me. Gina and Dave and Jesse and Tammy and Jenny. they have all, when I felt like a wet blanket coming to them and like just being in my head and miserable, they all just put their arms around me and just said, it's okay. It's okay. Ricky, for allowing me to call you out of the blue.
Anytime.
And just
Anytime.
and Jay, you told me your story, and we have that love of Queen.
Yes.
And then when we were on vacation, that one guy did a Queen song, and I had to text you, going, "Boy, this is a deep cut here."
Absolutely.
But I know I'm missing a lot of people. Lisa and Wade, I'd like to thank also, because when I just come out, I was talking with Lisa, and she just supported me when I thought nobody would support me or love me, and she was just right there helping. And so again, it's a big community, and you never know who you're going to reach out to who could change your life.
Oh, we forgot Dave and Roxanne, the people who first welcomed us into the community. So
Yeah.
how could we forget Dave and Roxanne? They're like family now. So, yeah.
So again, it's a big community. Ask anybody. Even a stranger is your friend in this community.
Well, thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for inviting us.
We appreciate you guys so much. And, maybe in a year or two, we'll do a follow-up episode and see where you're at then.
That'd be
All right.
amazing.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you, everybody. And
Love you guys.
we'll see you next time. Well, everyone, that wraps up this episode of the Dual Desires podcast.
Yay.
Don't forget to like this episode, share the show with everyone you know, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on future content. If you would like to volunteer your story and be a guest on our show, send Ricky an email at ricky@dualdesires.com. Head over to dualdesires.com to sign up for a profile and get the 411 and all the latest Dual Desires news and events. And as an added bonus, if you do share your story, you will receive a complimentary VIP ticket to a future Dual Desires events party. And when you attend those events, you will be the guest of honor for that night.
Absolutely.
So thank you all so much for your support. And until next time, everybody, I'm Mr. J.
And I'm Tricky Rick.
Stay positive, love your life, and make sure you live life to the fullest and don't let life live you.
That's it. Love you guys. Peace.
All right.